My people, what's good? Looking forward to another Saturday of fights, and of course we've got an actually kind of stacked fight night card, to be honest. Josh Emmett taking on Topuria, somebody that everybody's really high on in Ilya. I feel like he has one of the biggest fan bases out of any prospect on the rise in the UFC right now. Sorry. Just had a little bit of brain fog. But anyways, back to my prediction rate from the last fight card. I got 7 out of 12 fights right, so 7 out of 5. My prediction rate is 62%. I'm tied up on the main events. I got the last one correct. And after tonight's card, we're going to be at like a little bit above 250 fights this year. So that's pretty cool. Moving on into the first fight. We've got Cody Brundage taking on Cedrikas Dumas, and I told myself in the last fight that I watched for this dude that I would never pick Cedrikas again, but I can't pick Cody Brundage, bro. I just can't. He's looked decent against certain opponents like Tresean Gore, but in hindsight, Tresean Gore was not ready to be taking on somebody like Cody Brundage or even be in the UFC, to be honest, and he's a welterweight, as we've now just found out. So I am going to have to go with Cedrikas Dumas. Now, if he loses this one, I legitimately will never pick him again, even if it's a 100% fight made tailored towards him, a fight that he's supposed to win. I will not pick this man if he can't take out Cody Brundage today. I'm going to pick him by a decision. I don't think that he'll be able to get to the finish. Moving on up the card, Jamal Emmers taking on Jack Jenkins. This is really difficult for me. At first, I wanted to go Jack Jenkins, and then all week I've been watching Jamal Emmers' old fights. He beat Corey Sandhagen. He beat a couple other really good fighters. There's somebody that's in lightweight that I'm spacing on right now, but Jamal Emmers also beat him, and it's a good name to have on your resume. The problem is, Jack Jenkins is built a little bit different, and he's Aussie, and I like the way that he swings those punches and those leg kicks. So I feel like he could be able to outdamage Emmers to a unanimous decision, maybe winning 2-1. I don't know for sure. I could see him getting a finish, but I'm going to have to side with a decision. Moving on, Trevor Peek taking on Chepe Mariscal. So I went back and watched some of Chepe's fights on the regional circuit. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm going to have to pick Chepe Mariscal. I actually think that Trevor Peek is about to come out here and lose his undefeated record. The whole time leading up to this card, I was siding with Trevor Peek in my head just because he's built so funny, and the way he throws punches, like bolo punches and shit, and hammerfist strikes from the top, it's just wild, and it does a lot of damage, and he murked his last opponent on his UFC debut. But I think that Chepe is going to come out here and use his grappling, get some control, do decent on the feet maybe even, and probably win a unanimous decision. Moving on up the card, Zhalgas Sexy Hair Zumagulov taking on Joshua Van. I have to go with Josh Van. He's damn near undefeated, and Zhalgas, despite having a kind of iffy run in the promotion with a lot of split decisions, I just feel like he's not that good, and I feel like a lot of people suck him off in the MMA community and act like he's been robbed in most of his fights, when in reality, I thought he lost to Jeff Molina. I didn't think that he lost to, what is his name, Charles Johnson or whatever the fuck, but I did think he lost to Jeff Molina, and I've seen him convincingly lose to everyone else. So I'm going with Josh Van. Moving up, Tabitha Ricci taking on Jillian Robertson. I'm going with Jillian Robertson. I know most people are going with Ricci because she's fine as hell, damn near undefeated, she's a prospect. But whenever Jillian Robertson is winning fights, she's absolutely demolishing. And I can't see Tabitha Ricci demolishing Jillian Robertson. Even if she was to win, I feel like it'd be a super close, either a decision or probably a split decision, honestly, like where the judges just side with her because she's bad. But I'm going to have to go with Jillian Robertson just simply because her grappling lately has looked next level for the women's flyweight division. She's got amazing top control. She's always looking for subs or damage on top whenever she is riding out positions. So I just trust that. I feel like this is going to be a really hard test for Ricci, and she's going to have her first setback in the octagon, which is tough because she's a baddie, and I kind of want to see her do good. Moving on, Mateusz Rebecki taking on Loic Radzhabov. I picked Rebecki in his last fight, and he won, but I low-key felt like it was really, like, the MMA gods blessed me that he won that fight. It just looked like he was gassing. He did not look nearly as good as I was hoping an 18-1 fighter would look. And in Loic's last fight, I picked against him, and he pulled it out. So I'm going to just use some reverse psychology for my pick today, and I'm going to pick Loic Radzhabov to go against Mateusz Rebecki. They have, damn near the same record, except Loic has a couple more losses. And to give Mateusz some credit, I would say he's a lot more aggressive of a finisher, but I just can't see him winning a decision here. Moving on, up the card, I'm going Randy Brown against Wellington Turman. Randy Brown is just a natural welterweight. And aside from having to draw Jack Della Maddalena, which is a really tough draw, he's been looking really good. He picked up that win against Chaos Williams, and that was really impressive to me. I did pick Randy Brown to win that, but I was nervous, man. Now, here's the thing. Wellington Turman has some heat in his hands, and he's got great jiu-jitsu. But I don't think that it's good enough to counter Randy Brown. I don't think he'll be able to just hold him on the mat and, keep him there and do whatever he wants. I feel like Randy Brown will be able to get back to his feet easily. So it's most likely going to be a striking match. And if it's going to be on the feet, I just feel like Randy Brown is a lot cleaner on the feet. So I'm going to Randy Brown by a decision. Moving on, the prelim headliner of the night, Neil Magny taking on Phil Rowe. This fight pisses me off because on paper it's Neil Magny all day. He has a lot stronger strength of resume, and the fact that they're both built like tall, lanky strikers, but Neil is also kind of like a wet blanket grappler along with being that kind of striker, and all Phil has is being the tall, lanky striker that's less experienced. So if you guys can see where I'm going with this, it's kind of obvious. I am going to be siding with Neil Magny to get this one done. I think he could pick up a submission in the second round. But to be completely honest with you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Rowe pulled it out using his jab and his leg kicks, sticking and moving. I could see that happening. It's just I feel like Neil Magny is too battle-tested. He's been in there with the best of the best for over a decade now. I trust Neil Magny to add to his welterweight wins. Moving on, first fight of the main card, Brendan Allen taking on Bruno Silva. Dude, my boy Brendan Allen low-key got cucked because he was supposed to be main eventing against Jack Hermanson like he had been asking for. He's been whooping a lot of people lately, so he kind of earned it. And now, because Jack Hermanson had to pull out, he's stuck at the bottom of the main card of this fight night. And I believe he was even the prelims at some point. I could be wrong, but either way, Brendan Allen versus Bruno Silva, it's a nerve-wracking pick for me because Bruno Silva has bombs in his hands, and he finds a way to land on this style matchup, on grapplers like Brendan Allen. The thing is, though, I'm trusting Brendan Allen because he took out Andre Muniz, and I did not think he'd be able to do that. I was talking so much shit about how much better Andre Muniz was. I'm going Brendan Allen by sub. Moving on, David Onama taking on Gabriel Santos. This is another one of those ones where I feel like the newcomer could really come out here and shine and show all of us UFC fans that he deserved to be here the whole time, and maybe David Onama isn't as good as we all thought. Thing is, David Onama is really fucking good. And I know that Nate the Train took him to a dogfight and beat him, but I really feel like David Onama underestimated the fuck out of Nate the Train and did not realize what he's about to be getting himself into. It's so far removed from that was last year, that I feel like he's going to be able to come in here and really show what he's made of, and honestly, I think he's going to knock out Gabriel Santos. I'm going knockout. Next up, feature fight of the night, Austin Lane taking on Justin Tafa. All week I've been telling myself, we're going Austin Lane. Big boy, good grappling. Tafa can't make it out of the first round if he's getting grinded on in the grappling exchanges. We just watched what happened to his brother, got beat by Usman's brother. But you know what? I'm going with Justin Tafa. Austin Lane got knocked out by Greg Hardy, and if you got knocked out by Greg Hardy, you can't hang, and you're probably going to get pieced the fuck up by Justin Tafa because his hands are heavy. They're different, bro. He's 6-3, which is a little bit of a bummer. I feel like Justin Tafa has kind of fumbled his career to this point, but I'm trusting him to go back and start to build some momentum back up in the UFC. He's coming off of 1 or 2 knockouts in a row. I trust him to make this one the second or the third. Build a streak. Let's get you fighting somebody that's at the bottom of the rankings in heavyweight after you take out... I cannot talk today, bro. After you take out Austin Lane. Let's get you up there. I'm like running out of oxygen. I'm going too quick. I'm trying to bullet these takes on these fights to you guys. Moving on, co-main event of the night. We already know who's going to win this, guys. Come on. Amanda Ribas versus Macy Barber. Amanda Ribas is going to dominate 3 rounds and then lose a split decision to Macy Barber. I mean, come on. That's got to be the prediction. Nah, really, though, I will be having to pick Amanda Ribas. She's just a lot better of a fighter. She's not going to be shadow boxing from 5 feet away, throwing absolutely nothing, and then once she's in the pocket, just pillow hands, which is what I feel like Macy Barber's going to do. She gets a little bit too much shit from the fan base, I can't lie. I won't hold you. She's not as bad as everybody says. And to be honest, I do like her in this, flyweight division. I do like her mixing shit up. It just makes shit more interesting because, to be honest, most of these female fighters are boring as shit. So I wouldn't mind Macy Barber winning, to be completely honest, but I really feel like Amanda Ribas is just better everywhere. And if it goes to the ground, she could even pick up a sub. So I'm going to go with Amanda Ribas by a decision. Don't be surprised if it's a Macy Barber split decision robbery. If that's actually the case, come back to this channel ASAP later after the fights. I'm going to be making a video on it. You already know. Everyone's going to make a video complaining about that shit if that's the case. Moving on, though, to the main event of the night, the fight that we're all looking forward to the most. And I feel like a lot of people, especially these Jordans, are riding high on Ilya. We got Josh Emmett taking on Ilya Topuria. I've been looking forward to this fight a lot. I don't know why. I've always been a really big Josh Emmett fan. I just feel like he's always been slept on, and I mean, okay, let me take it back. Way back when he first came into the UFC, he was a prospect. Everyone was talking about him. Crazy bombs in his hands. But then he was injured for years. Didn't really fight much, and I feel like he completely fell out of the spotlight to the, not even just to the average fan, even to a lot of hardcore fans. And of course, now that he's being matched up with an undefeated prospect that everybody's been dick riding since he was in the UFC, for good reason too, he is a killer. But regardless, because he's up against somebody like that, it's even more intense now. When you go online anywhere, everybody's just riding for Ilya. And it's not even just because of his talent. It's because they just want Ilya to murk everybody. And they think he's the most badass fighter in all of the UFC. Not gonna lie, it gets kind of frustrating. Certain fan bases are just so toxic in the sport. And it definitely is, it's like that with Ilya. Same with the Russians, with the Dagestanis. It's that type of deal. I get it, though, because he has wicked combinations on the feet. They're really clean. And he throws bombs, dude. He went from being a jits guy to being a ridiculous striker that's knocking hella people out. Here's the thing, though. He got dropped twice bad against Jai Herbert. And Jai Herbert is not nearly the level of Josh Emmett. Especially not when it comes to timing and closing distance and landing those power punches. And the fact that they're close to height really makes this a nerve-wracking pick for me. I am going to ultimately side with Ilya Topuria. I feel like he really is the real deal, and he belongs to the top 5 of featherweight. But I will not be surprised if Josh Emmett lands on this motherfucker and puts him out cold. To everybody that is just riding so hard on Ilya, y'all must have forgot who the fuck Josh Emmett is. Low-key, I want him to win this tonight just so everyone shuts up about Ilya. But at the same time, I really do want things to mix up in featherweight, and I can see him whooping ass. So I'm going Ilya by a knockout. If you guys fuck with the content, give me a sub, give me a like, all that. Let's go watch the fights. I'll catch y'all.